Good morning and welcome to Three Dudes and a Lady. Join us for a little motivation, a little inspiration, and perhaps a way to cope with your day. My gratitude this morning is for the learning experiences I'm experiencing this week, and I am Mike Jones from Virginia.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Earl. I hail here in beautiful North Carolina. Uh, my gratitude for today is the beautiful sunshine that's out there to help beautify our nature and also for learning new things each and every day about ourselves and what we do in our life.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Jay Anderson from the wonderful state of West Virginia, and my gratitude for the day is the title to Jay Shetty's topic of today, Wiggle Room.
Hey guys, I am Christine Wright, hailing out of the great state of Florida. My gratitude for today is the community of people that I get to surround myself with. Super blessed. And like Jay just said, the title for today's call was Wiggle Room. Jay Shetty talked about an operating room, a hospital in an operating room where they would basically the staff was overworked. They didn't have the patient. Some patients got canceled because the operating rooms were going on nonstop, right? So if they had an emergency, they had to bump patients, move patients around. So they hired somebody to come in and evaluate this for them, right? And he told them to leave an operating room empty at all times, right? So they're thinking that's counterproductive to what we're trying to do here, right? They did it and it worked seamlessly, right? Because they were able to use that operating room for emergencies only. What he talked about is too often we try to plan our calendars too tight. And if an emergency arises, then what? Then we're stressing out, freaking out that we're not going to make it on time or whatever. We need to learn to leave a little space in our calendar just in case so that it'll save us from stress, right? And it'll keep us on track if something does happen, right? If something the the tire goes flat in the car and you're supposed to be at work, right? Like save us a little bit of stress from that. I know that I have troubles with this because I want my calendar packed out, right? Like I want it packed. And then if something does come up or if something surprises me, right? Like yesterday, I had to leave and go pick up a kid, right? I wasn't expecting that. And I surely didn't have that in my calendar, right? So then I'm stressed out because it took an hour out of my day, an hour that I already had planned, right? So I am stressed, I'm angry, I'm tense, all because this hour that I thought I was going to have in my schedule, I no longer have, right? Because it got hijacked by a kid. And it's not their fault. Like they didn't mean to do it, it just happened. But the thing about it is if I would have left myself a little bit of wiggle room, I probably wouldn't have been as stressed out or angry, right? I didn't take it out on my kid, of course. Like they had no idea that I was stressed out or angry, but I was inside. I was like tormented, right? Have you guys ever been in a situation like that or?
I think we've all been in that situation one time in a way in our life. But I think the word flexibility in ourselves is key and is important because in our calendar, yes, we do like to fill up our calendars and it's important in our business. But at the same time, that that flexibility block of time each and every day, whether it's me time, whether it's self-development time, or if an emergency pops up, if you give yourself that flexibility or you're able to get that flexibility because you're right, the unexpected can happen. I mean, like you said, you could get a flat tire, something medical could come up, you don't know. But being prepared at all times for stuff like this, I think, is very important because it'll lessen the stress a little bit, but still it'll give you that time to accomplish other things that need to be done throughout the day.
Yeah, spot on too. Like just being flexible. I'm going to admit it, I'm not very flexible when it comes to my schedule. So it's something I really have to work on, right? Extremely have to work on it. Jay, Mike.
Oh, guys. Mike, you go ahead.
Yeah, I think I am flexible when it comes to my schedule, but up to a point. So, and I hate it when other people schedule and it's not a convenient time. Like we get appointments sometimes put on my calendar, and I know statistically, but it's probably a 80, well, not that high. It's probably a 60% chance that person is never going to answer the phone, even if they book the appointment themselves, right? Um, but it still makes me crazy a little bit. Okay, I gotta cut this short, or I've got to rush through this to get prepared for that. I hate being late. I hate being late to anything.
Yeah, I'm with you,
And
Mike.
so,
Hate it.
and it comes to a point where you can't always blame it on the traffic. Yes.
And I want to point out something else, and I'm sure some of the people at the conference are going through this. When you're scheduling to go to a conference, trying to find a flight, you have to expect the unexpected when it comes to delays getting there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that for me personally, I'm an early bird. I mean, give me the early bird flight to get out there. I don't care if I'm going to be that early. That's fine. It'll give you that wiggle time for me time so you can relax a little bit. Think about what you need to prepare for. Go grab a coffee or a meal somewhere before your flight is up, and then you plan your Uber or whatever it is to get to your destination. Um, there's one thing I hate doing is taking afternoon or evening flights. Get there at the last minute because you don't know what's going to happen when you get there, and that's why in a bit when you're in a business set, I think that's important when you plan ahead of your schedule like that.
Somehow I think Earl just jinxed me for my trip home tomorrow.
Hopefully
I
not. Hope
pro
not.
Way to go,
I,
Earl.
I hope not because I'm telling you right now, you don't want to look at the news or the weather map right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've gotten warnings from the airlines already, so
I'm sure.
be
Mhm.
flexible.
Not that I'm promoting CBS Sunday Morning, but I tell you what, that picture right behind Mike Jones just symbols that whole thing right there.
Yeah, I literally have been in three different spaces around this table this morning because I didn't like what I saw yesterday when I was on screen.
Hey, listen, a hotel's a hotel. It's a
Yeah.
hotel.
Yeah.
You can't fix the arrangement.
No, that's it. So this one has a lot of things are just running through my mind right now. It's racing to decide what to talk about. I have to start with a funny, and the only reason being is the title "Wiggle Room" was many years ago in the car business. They did this commercial with a little puppet that was called a badger. And if you get on YouTube and look up the car badger commercials, you're in for some laugh. Okay. Anyways, in one of these commercials, the and I'm ad-libbing here from memory, so I'm not spot on, but one of the customers looks at the salesman and says, "Do you have any wiggle room?" And the badger goes, "Oh, you want wiggle room? I'll give you wiggle room. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. How's that for wiggle room?" You have to watch it. It's if you've been in the car business or around it, you will cry. Okay. If you haven't, you're probably looking at it and saying, "What stupid ass commercial is this?"
Here I was thinking Jay was going to start singing fruit salad by the Wiggles.
Oh yeah. I'm not a
I
singer,
didn't know the name
so
of the song, but I knew the Wiggles.
yeah. So the title, let's go back to this because there's so many ways to take this from Jay Shetty, and my mind was just splitting listening to Jay go through this particular topic. Let me start by saying we do have one thing that is very consistent in our life, and that's called change. So this title falls right into that category. We know this. We've been told this numerous times throughout our life. We have one consistent thing in life, and that is change. It's very consistent. Okay. We just don't know the time of the consistency and the frequency of it. Scheduling a tight schedule is detrimental to a degree because of that. However, I will say this. The great Christine Rife sat down and taught us about time blocking on our calendars. There's a reason that we time block on the calendars. And this kind of falls within that reason of wiggle room. And that's something that we need to pay attention to. And when we do, we can't for the sake of, they say we have to fill our schedule up. We have to be busy at all times. They say do this. We need to just load them up with all these appointments, load them up with all these recruiting appointments and all that. If you do not take time for yourself throughout that, and you do not give yourself wiggle room, then what ultimately happens is a burnout or I'm done phase enters your mind. Which brings me to the next part of this. This is kind of a rolling flow thing for me here. I want to use athletes as the example. We just recently witnessed 2 weeks of the Winter Olympics. And if you did watch any of it, man, they were absolutely phenomenal. They did not disappoint. Italy was stunning. The view was incredible, so much so, I think I'd like to take a trip there sometime, and again, that's when you're a host of something like this, that's what you're shooting for when they advertise all this stuff. They did a phenomenal job. Now, getting to the point. Athletes. Let's take a skater. We'll use a skater here. It doesn't matter which sport here, but for this example, we're going to use a skater. If they don't give themselves wiggle room in their mind to be free in their skating, when the mistake happens, one of two things happens. Either the mind allows them to move forwards and continue the program, or the mind starts to be a mind game, and then the rest of the program goes downhill. So the reason that I'm trying to go to this example is the wiggle room is a mindset. It is within your mind the ability to take what just took place, set it aside, because you can't change it. It just happened. You cannot change it. Do you have the ability to have that wiggle room in your mind to put that on the shelf and concentrate on the rest? And hopefully the rest can overcome some of the score loss you just took as a skater. So this is important in what we do in everyday life, I feel like. Christine, I can't tell you how many times that my schedule gets altered as no different than all of us sitting on this platform and anybody that's listening every day. I can't tell you how many times I start mind gaming myself afterwards because I don't have the wiggle room. I don't have the mindset to change that. This is where time blocking and working your schedule does come into play. If you can do that, it is a resource for us to go to and say, okay, here's my next one. That one just got whatever. I had to leave the house for an hour because something came up that I had to take care of. What's next? And sometimes the resource is that schedule that you write out. So pay attention to your scheduling, time block things for your own personal time to give yourself a break. The reality is you can sit here and say, I work from 8 in the morning until 8 at night. Some people do. Okay. I'll say this. Are they happy? Are they healthy? Folks, you gotta put perspective in these things. This wiggle room title, even though it's a simple title, even though it's a little bit of a funny title to a degree, man, it is a dagger. It is rock solid important for us to recognize this. So sorry I took you down that rabbit hole, but man, that was a good one.
For sure. And I definitely agree with the time blocking because a lot of times if you use a block in your calendar and say, this is when we try to, this is my goal to accomplish this in this block of time, and something happens, something, so like something goes sideways, it's going to keep you from being less stressed, right? Whereas if our calendar is packed full
Yes.
and something happens, we're going to get highly, highly stressed.
And that time blocking could be the time that you could revisit whatever was supposed to take place.
Mhm.
So it gives you an entry point to come back to.
Right,
Possibly, just saying.
for sure.
You have the right attitude, you may see a missed appointment or a no-show as a blessing. It gives you, if you use the time properly.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'm reminded of when you talked about the person that works from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Doesn't Jay Shetty often say, may you be at peace, may you be healthy? But see, and not forget the third thing, may you be loved. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So true.
Not a lot of time for that in a 12-hour day.
And guess what? Your health will take the first dive.
Yes, it
That's
will.
what usually happens because you become way too stressed. Take it from me. This was me. I mean, I was working 12 hours days at least, if not longer, because I was homeschooling kids. I was running a business. I'm running appointments, like,
Businesses.
huh?
Businesses,
Oh
plural
yeah, businesses,
sometimes.
more than one. Yeah,
Or that's
Yeah.
right.
it takes a toll on your body and your mind, and your body's gonna suffer from it for sure, no doubt about it.
Everybody can sustain a little bit of time frame of doing that,
Oh
okay?
yeah,
And then there's a very, very few that can sustain that over a course of a lifetime. There are some special people out there that have that capability. Uh, I'll call them unfortunate people. I I think there comes a point where you got to, and they'll say to you, "What? That's when I'm happiest." No, you've been trained to think that way. You've put yourself in that mode to think that way, and you can't think outside of that sometimes because you're the one that's in it.
yeah,
So
And
and you
if
think
you
this is your life.
it's your life.
yeah.
Not
if
no,
you
it's
do maintain it over the course of a lifetime, your lifetime may be shorter than it should be.
For sure, no doubt. It's not sustainable. You're not going to be happy. The people around you are not going to be happy. I mean, I was there. It was me in a nutshell. And I was that person, Jay, where I thought this was happy. I thought this was the life that I wanted. I wanted to work this. I wanted to do this. Then you
same
get
way.
sick and real
When I
quick
was
you
in the
find
car business, I dedicated so much of my time to it. I didn't realize it, but I was starting to lose my outside friends because they quit inviting me to functions and things that they
you
used
could
to
never
invite
go.
me to. Right. And then that once I got out, I was like, what a dumbass I was. Now, not saying, please don't take anything away from this. I learned a tremendous amount during that time frame. If anything, it did help me grow mature once I got out to be able to look back and then using the platform that we have and start really learning and growing myself. It took that for me to understand. So had I not done those things, I might not have a clear picture like I do now.
Right.
The clear picture is perspective. It is what you want in life. It's your why.
Absolutely. And our whys are going to shift and change and things like that. It took my mother-in-law coming to see us, and she was always like, "You don't get a day off." Like, well, today's supposed to be my day off, but I have to go in. What do you mean? You don't get a day off? Today's
Yeah.
supposed to be my day off, but it's the last week of the month. I have to go in,
Yes.
And I
Yes.
just assumed that's the life I wanted to live.
Me too. And me too. Greed took over, Christine. The
Yes,
the almighty dollar just kept, it was like a dangled carrot in front of a
it
rabbit,
really was.
you know? So, Earl, you got anything, brother?
I was just something that you just struck on a few minutes ago. I like to use the word book of life in our life that we have in front of us. I think it's important in one of the chapters in our life is that wiggle room of doing the things that we enjoy doing that help us take the mind off the pressure of everyday life. Because if you don't put a chapter in that, it's going to have its consequences. And I feel that just to me that's a key point because let's face it. I mean, we all work hard every day, and yeah, burnout can happen, but that's a learning lesson for all of us. But if you don't create that little chapter in life, the wiggle room chapter, if you want to call it that, you can call it whatever you want. I mean, whatever it is that suits your boat. If you want to go to the beach, day in the mountains, and spend time having a barbecue with someone. I mean, that downtime is critical to help release your mind, release the tension, but also gives you a reset to go back to do what's important in your life. Because let's face it, we're all like batteries. I mean, there's a time for us to recharge, and there's a time for us to regenerate ourselves. There you go. See.
There you go. Way to go.
Yeah, that was
Cheers.
good.
Hey, listen, folks, it's obvious we're not licensed therapists, but it's also very obvious that we enjoy the content of Jay Shetty from the app Calm. We can take his content and listen to it. And I think basically we are our own teachers and students within this platform. And man, that's kind of cool being both. How many times do you get to hear that? So please join us on a daily basis and get a dose of us and Jay Shetty.
And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. And I hope you'll come back for more. Peace.
Deuces.